Hey everybody, Gaming Observer here again. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Homefront. I just picked this game up today for PS3, and I, like I said, I picked it up today. I finished with the single player campaign. Yes, it is pretty short, but you will enjoy your time playing the single player with this game. I think it's awesome. I think the story is pretty intriguing, if a little unbelievable, but very entertaining game. One gripe that I have about it, the multiplayer is kind of broken right now. Hopefully, I'm sure this will get fixed, but it keeps freezing, and I have to do a hard reset on my console, which is always a pain. But yeah, it's kind of a shame. But overall, it's solid. It's a solid first-person shooter. One note, that kind of sums up the quality of the game is that it kind of takes successful elements from other games and implements them into this. And it doesn't really change up, it's not really a game-changing deal. It borrows a lot of elements from the Call of Duty games and Battlefield and, all that kind of stuff with the, building up experience points and leveling up. And the single player is very linear. But all this stuff, like I said, it's not a bad thing. They took elements from other first person shooters and did a good job with them. The voice acting in the game is pretty solid, nothing extraordinary, but it does its job. It's pretty great. The story, like I said, is pretty good. There's a pretty big focus on realism, actually. Surprisingly enough, the game, obviously, you can tell. It's called Homefront. It is set in America. And North Korea is invading, the United States, and it's set like 20 years into the future, roughly. And it's very interesting. It's pretty brutal. It's a pretty graphic game. Those of you that are, the faint of heart, it's a pretty brutal game. So definitely make sure you are in check with your mature titles. But I don't know really what much else to say. It's an enjoyable game, probably not worth $59.99, but I still think that it was decent enough to buy. I would probably wait until maybe it's $39. That's probably I would say a fair price for it, just because it doesn't really do much for the first-person shooter genre other than provide a good story and setting. And hopefully they fix the multiplayer, because it looks like the multiplayer has some really good potential. And anyway, guys, that's all. I just wanted to talk about Homefront. I think I'm going to be picking up Dragon Age 2 tomorrow, so I'll probably review that as well. So see you later, guys. Talk to you soon.